Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Mouse Sports and Alliance. This is the best of three grand final for the Reavers Cup to decide who's going to get the maximum point value and who's going to be going home with second place here. So again, adding up the points, whoever has the top four will be invited onto the playoffs, and the seeding will be based on those point values. But yeah, moving on forward, we're going to see who's going to take it away here. Alliance's first cup doing extremely well, but Mouse Sports showing EG who's boss as well. I think both teams have a lot of potential to take this one away. Either way, a best of three series, like none other. We'll be seeing exactly how it plays on out. So going on into the draft here, thank you guys so much for tuning on in. And then once again, I am Blaze, joined here by Triumphant Man. What's up?
I'm just wondering, where is Loader? Just wondering where he's vanished off to. That said, best of three series. So Mouse Sports, I mean, they had a cute strategy last match. We'll see if the same surprise tactics can work a couple of times in a row. But Alliance straight up banning out the Nakes, and I mean, don't really blame them there, of course. Mouse Sports had the first pick, could snag that quite easily, and on top of that, they don't have Loader here. The question is whether or not they're going to rotate their lineup to have somebody else play the number one position, or if Smolgalig will take it himself. So, see what they've got in mind there. But second ban coming up as well for Alliance. I'm just wondering if we'll see something like the Batter. No, it's going to be the Lone Druid being banned out, so we won't see Admiral Bear Dog be played this time around. He might decide to go with, well, also Nature's Prophet ban as well, so I guess this leaves Darkseer or Bounty Hunter as his next choice.
Yeah, I mean, he picks up with Clockwork a little bit here and there, but we are going to see easily the Bat Rider pick up by Quackava. By banning out the Prophet and the Lone Druid, they banned out both Quackava and Admiral Bulldog as far as their primary two heroes, but the Bat Rider is very common on Quackava as well, so that'll be his options there. I'm curious to see how they're going to play it out from here, but yeah, as far as the standing goes, they aren't going to have Loda available. Instead, Smuggling will be filling in here. He is, as I recall, a member of Team Smeagol, which was previously known as, they at least played as a couple of tournaments under the name of Fnatic North America, but I'm not sure, I don't think they have that sponsorship anymore. So anyways, Smuggling is kind of a free agent there standing in here, and we'll see. But anyways, starting it off, S4 drafting up the Magnus for himself, and just kind of controlling the other lanes here. The Keeper Light is going to go to Ake, and he's going to support that up, so lanes are already shaping up for themselves. Of course, Mag will be on the mid, and yeah, we'll see how it plays on out. We actually, I shouldn't speak too soon. Magnus has been picked up by Bulldog on occasion, a couple of times. Hasn't been to the greatest effect when you compare it to S4, but it's still a pretty solid offlaner if you're not up against the Rubik. Either way, right now, Mouse Sports answering back with the Gyrocopter and Nyx.
Yeah, I was actually about to call that out, point out that Bulldog does play Magnus on the occasion as well. That said, I think, honestly, I think Magnus's days in the sideline are somewhat numbered, as of course he's received a few nerfs after a nerf, and then of course we've got the Bottle Crow nerf coming up as well, so we can't even use that to try and stay in the lane. But Rubik will be picked up by Alliance as well. No real surprise. I mean, if it wasn't going to get picked up here, it'd probably get banned out instead, just to make sure you can't have that counter RP get dropped in your face. And of course, I mean, plenty of good spells to steal here. I mean, Batrider's got a ton, Gyrocopter as well, Nyx Assassin, plenty of great spells for him to get his hands on there as well. And if he can nick a cooldown, that can do some serious damage. Yeah. But now the second banning phase here. Alliance, I'm just looking at Mouse Sports' lineup. I mean, I'm assuming Batrider's going to take the offlane. So right now they're probably looking to ban the solo mid and possibly some of the other supports, because they've already got their supports sorted out, so they can start banning out some of those supports as well. And on the other hand, Mouse Sports are probably looking to... It really depends where this Magnus is going to go. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, the fact that they haven't bothered picking up anything yet... I mean, this could actually be a Bulldog with Magnus just because, I mean, they haven't bothered picking up anything else for Bulldog just yet.
Yeah, it's a very flexible lineup, a little bit of rock, paper, scissors game. If it is a Bulldog... if it's not a Bulldog Magnus, then it's definitely something that they want to ban against. They want to make sure that he doesn't have much potential in the offlane, so taking out two really, really good options for him. But that might mean that they could run either the Clockwork for Bulldog or pick up something else for S4 on the mid. And from there, just really, really control the pace of the game. So we are going to see first pick available for Mouse Sports. They're going to be able to kind of synergize their lineup a little bit more extensively. Right now, though, as I mentioned, Quackava, probably the Bat Rider, so that would leave Nyx Assassin supporting it up, and Gyrocopter can be kind of flip-flopping between the two options in mid from Fata, who used to play him quite a bit. And then on top of that, of course, Black farming away could do a lot with that hero as well. So we'll have to see, but both lineups being a little bit flexible, kind of back and forth between, for Mouse Sports, the carry in the mid, and for Alliance, the offline in the mid. But we'll see it all pan on out here. The Shadow Demon Lestrak being taken on out. Who do you think is the best support to pair with Nyx for the remaining heroes in the pool?
I mean, it depends how aggressive they want to get. I mean, I almost want to see something like Alina works really nice as well, of course. Alina, of course, with that extra stun, can cause a lot of damage as well. Stun, Dragon, Light Strike away, throw out the Dragon Slave as well. That can cause a lot of damage there. And I'm just looking at Mouse Sports' lineup there. Oh, well, the bands that they're going. I mean, they're banning as if they're dead set that Magnus is going to be played by S4. They're expecting that because they're banning out all of those sideline heroes that they expect Bulldog might be getting sent to. Of course, banning out the Darkseer as well as the Bounty Hunter. That said, the final ban Phantom Lambs. I mean, yeah, that's something that would work quite well with Rubik as well as Keep Light. They've got plenty of spammable spells there. And with Chakra to keep them going, I mean, they could cause a lot of damage, and that would probably be enough to keep Batrider pinned down. If he is taking that silent, I mean, he could still be mid at this point in time. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean the Gyrocopter could semi-counter him to an extent, but it's better safe than sorry just to take that out and make sure that the carrier's not just going to be running wild with that amazing late game scalability that PL can provide, especially with the Keeper Light providing the foundational groundwork of the Chakra Magic to make sure the lane is going to go nice and easy for him. So in this position here, they take out a couple of headaches off the table, but still, I really think that Alliance have a lot of potential to take this draft away if they play the cards right in the next two. Right now, kind of going back to that question of what's the best support here, Lina definitely on everybody's mind, but there are still plenty of different options. I mean, Visage is something we've seen quite a bit in the past few rounds. I'm curious if that's something that they'd look at. Right now, though, taking out the Juggernaut of all things, just to, I guess, take out a little bit of carry action. The puck comes on through, and yeah, Fada's going to be running that on the mid for sure.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much guaranteed. In fact, against that lineup, I'm pretty sure Batrider would probably say, screw it, just go to the jungle, because, I mean, against Keeper like the Rubik, you probably don't want to hang around in that lane. It's very easy to pick him off there. And of course, Rubik can quite easily set up those eliminates for Keeper Light, plus whatever carry that they have in that lane. We'll see what they decide to roll with there. That said, Alliance, fourth pick here. I do find the Juggernaut ban interesting. I don't really know if they would have gone for him. I mean, Juggernaut, of course, can cause a fair bit of havoc with the Omni Slash, but generally speaking, he gets picked when you're looking for more of a push-oriented lineup, and none of those heroes there really lend themselves towards that. I mean, sure, the Healing Ward is nice, but it tends to be you want to use it to sustain a push, and they don't really have that there. And in fact, Gyrocop doesn't really want to participate, just wants to sit down and farm and get his BKB, get his Butterfly, or whatever else he's looking for out. Monkey King Bar / crit.
Yeah, I think almost, I might be just completely off my rocker here, but I think it was almost a Juggernaut mid-ban that they were taking out there. Fata has run that previously. Not sure if it's that big a deal against the Magnus. I'd generally be more afraid of a Templar Assassin or something like that, but no, I mean, in this situation, Juggernaut could have worked in either the carry role or the mid, but I like you said, he doesn't want to take Gyrocopter's farm, and the Healing Ward isn't going to be that substantial when they don't have any other push heroes. So I would say, if anything, the Juggernaut, if he would have been prominent at all, it would have been in the mid lane. But of course, Fata, happy to be able to pick up that puck instead, because you can control the Magnus, you can really, really limit his movement, as well as silence him up so that he's not going to be able to get the lockdown he would prefer. And from there, you get a lot of control, but we are going to see Alliance, even without Loda, they're going to be able to pick up the Spectre here, and we'll see how effectively it's going to be used. They certainly have the supports to make him feel safe and sound, secure on that tri lane, but from there, he's going to have to get a lot of core item to make it worth the pick.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, let's just assume that S4 is taking the Magnus bid. Juggernaut against him, neither of them are probably going to die. Both of them are probably going to haul bottles like crazy. Neither of them are really going to have the firepower to kill each other. Of course, I mean, it comes down to the fact that Skewer, even if Magnus skewers Juggernaut out of position, Juggernaut could just spin at him, and then if Juggernaut spins at Magnus, Magnus can just skewer himself away, so he doesn't really have to worry about that. So, I mean, none of them are going to land kills. They're probably both going to get their farm up, so, I mean, yeah, they could send the Juggernaut mid against him, but at the same time, like you said, the puck, in all honesty, is so much better against him. He's got far more lane control, can dodge the shockwaves with his phase shift, and then, of course, coming into the mid game, he has tons and tons of team fight presence, whereas Juggernaut's sort of really, really hoping to get a lucky Omni Slash off before level 11, because you've only got, what, 3-4 bounces at level 1, it's not that great. Disruptor, oh, I like this pick. Final pick from Mousesports. This really helps counter Spectre. She tries to use her teleport in with her Haunt, she tries to use her global presence, jumps in, and then Disrupt says, you know what, go home. Yeah. I like that, I really do.
Mm-hmm. You can do it with recall as well, so if Keeper Light tries to jump somebody on in there with the recall, then you can send it right back the other direction, but you're going to have to be really, really on the ball. Send her in. He's going to go for that glimpse, of course, and if he can do it when Spectre realities are in and actually focus down the right target and send back the right Spectre, then he is actually going to be just a playmaker there, because sending a Spectre out of the fight, it means that literally it's as if she just ultied. Like, literally, she hit her R button and then she kept farming. So by taking her out of the play there, that's going to make it so that Spectre has to actually bring herself to the fight. I mean, obviously, the Keeper Light's recall, maybe you can be glimpsed back and then brought right back on into it. But yeah, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. Either way, we do see that feint come out. They banned like crazy for Bulldog, and they're like, okay, you guys do that. We'll hand Bulldog the Magnus. We'll take a leaf out of the Chinese book and take the Dragonite for a spin on the mid lane. So that'll be really, really good for them. And it'll be okay against the Puck. I mean, it's not the best here to deal with Puck, but it certainly isn't the worst. And from that position, they have such great initiation potential. I'm probably going for Lothar's early on the Dragonite. He'll be able to just jump on in and stun like crazy.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to go for an aggressive build here. There's no real sense for them to try and sit down and play for damage builds, just because it's going to come down to the Spectre in this late game up against the Gyrocopter. And an interesting choice of heroes here. Both the Gyrocopter and the Spectre sort of play the same way in terms of carry. They're not like an anti-Beta Avoid who sort of jump in and say, you in particular, I hate you, I'm going to kill you, and focus fire that guy. They tend to sort of accidentally kill the enemy team. And Gyrocopter, of course, pops Flat Cannon, and then suddenly you've got Cupid Light and Rubik falling over dead, even though they weren't being aimed at. And then, of course, Spectre mashes R, and suddenly the enemy supports are dead, just because they happen to be hanging around somewhere on the map that wasn't the fountain. So there is that aspect. Both the supports on either team are going to be feeling the pain when they get into these fights. They're going to get melted very quickly when nobody's even trying to aim at them. So I feel kind of sorry for them already if this game goes late. It's going to be a huge pain in the butt.
Not sure what that was about. But anyways, so what we're going to see here is Puck starting off with Null Talisman. Probably going to be fed, one set of Tangos here. It is going to mean that because he spent so much cash early, his bottle is going to be very delayed. But what he lost in that, he makes up for the fact that he reinforces his base damage substantially, which is very important up against Dragonite. Dragonite, of course, is going to be able to breathe fire down creeps, but starting off, he only has... he only has 52 damage output compared to the Puck, who is actually running on 63. So, there you go. Yeah, moving on forward, is going to be able to right-click away, dodge out Breathe Fire, and just control the lane very, very effectively. So, that's it. And, yeah, back and forth, back and forth. I'm actually expecting a lot out of this Puck here. Fata should be able to control it very effectively and limit the Dragonite in his farm. The later you have to worry about things like Lothar's or Blink or however they want to get Dragonite into the midst of things, the later that is, the better off you are as a whole on your team composition. And then you can actually start ganking him more actively early on before he puts points in Dragon's Blood. So a lot of really good things to come out of if you can control the lane and contest the CS directly.
I mean, Dragonite's going to be harder to harass at the lane. At the same time, though, Puck, I agree with the choice to go straight for the Null Talisman straight, because he doesn't really need the bottle that early. He doesn't need to rush the bottle quite that quick, just because he is going to have... Dragonite's not going to be able to get that aggressive early on in himself, just because a low-level Breathe Fire doesn't really hurt that much, and he should be able to dodge the worst of it anyway with the phase shift regardless. So he's just going to be able to... Having that Null Talisman is just going to make it that much easier for him to last hit and control the lane with his auto attack. But it looks like Batrider is going to go straight into the jungle. It's not even going to... Oh, actually, no. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. yeah, okay, he's got the boots already. I mean, I was thinking about the boots, he might just try and lane with that, but no, the boots, I mean, one of the big reasons for the boots first is the fact that he takes a lot, like he can hit and run a lot easier against the hard game creeps. He doesn't get caught by them and take a lot of damage from their auto attacks.
Yeah. Interesting move that Ake keeps on doing. Whenever he feels secure about his carry and knows that he's not going to be contested at all in the top lane, immediately goes in the mid lane and just starts harassing him with Illuminate. Doesn't expect to get a kill out of it, but it's just a little bit, a pinprick of damage, forcing out a single tango. He feels it's very well worth it to just give a tiny add, just like kind of the Wild Wing harass with the Tornado, just adding in a little bit of extra damage there and a little bit of frustration the other way around. So S4 picks up a couple CS early, well on his way towards his bottle, but he only has one more Breathe Fire left, so he has to watch that.
There's the Batrider in there. Obstacle the easy camp straight away and then immediately stacks the hard camp at the 1 minute mark. Smart play from there. Meanwhile, though, it looks like the bottle has already been brought out for Dragonite. We'll have that up and running at the 1 minute mark. And Puck, on the other hand, halfway to his own bottle. He should have that fairly soon as well. So, I mean, this Null Talisman going to work out quite nicely for him. Meanwhile, though, Bulldog, he doesn't have his ability, he doesn't have his shenanigans this game. He's not going to be able to do his tons and tons of shenanigans for the blocking and the disruption of the pool camps this turn around. So we'll see how he manages to fare this time around. He has cut down all the trees, though, of course, with charge, and probably promptly went back to base to regenerate all his mana. He is scouted out by a ward, though. I mean, if they want to try and set up a kill here, they have the ability, but I think they're just going to get some levels first, because level 1 Impale is not fantastic, and of course, Disrupt doesn't have tons of damage just yet, so they're probably just going to wait for now.
I'm under the impression that the Spectre is going to go for a build that allows him to rely on the side chop specifically, because if you look at the mid lane, you actually see the Snow Courier just kind of chilling out here, waiting for the bottle to be empty, so that S4 can put down his bottle on the Courier and then ferry his boots up in the next round. So it seems like Spectre is not going to be using this Courier anytime soon, and that might indicate him going for, he could go for like phase boots, or he could be opting for like a Ring of Health, which he could possibly build up into a Vanguard if he feel it would help him out against like the lower right-click damage heroes, like the Disruptor, and even Gyrocopter early on isn't going to do all that much. So, possibility there, back and forth, but at least for the moment, they're just happy to kind of keep the status quo and make sure that the mid lane is their focus as far as making sure Fata versus S4 goes swimmingly.
To be honest, my own opinion as to why is why he might be opting for a particular. I don't think he's opting for a particular build. It's just the fact that the lane is free. There's no competition, no pressure at all. So I mean, it doesn't really matter what he's deciding to build towards. He doesn't actually need any items right now. Just last hit away, regardless. I mean, he's got no contest here, so he's a pro player. He can last hit these creeps very, very easily without any contest. So he doesn't actually need his items just yet. Whereas meanwhile, on the other hand, Dragon Knight S4 really does want to bottle haul the hell out of that to make sure he stays in his lane against Puck. I mean, Dragon's Blood is great and all, but when you're getting slammed by the Illusionary Orb, and in fact, this time around, Puck has decided to start maxing the Illusionary Orb over the Waning Rift, so he's actually going for that long-range damage harass. I mean, you don't really want to get close to the Dragon Knight, because, of course, you're just going to cop a Dragon Tail to the face and get wrecked by it. So there is that. There we go. He's going to counter harass, though, with his Flame Breath level 2 as well. And he's gone for, max out the Flame Breath, 1 in Tail, and then 1 in Dragon's Blood. Fairly stock standard stuff there as well. Meanwhile, though, Mouz supports, I'm just trying to check the supports here. Who's getting ahead in terms of farm? Looks like the Dire supports are ahead, comparatively.
Yeah.
So they will be getting their items out earlier on.
And that's something to be expected from a Keeper of the Light. They get the dual jungle aspect, and they can just kind of farm them down gradually. He has unlimited mana with the Chakra. He keeps on spamming out those Illuminates, so every creep stack really used to great effect, whereas the Mouz supports have to rely on how often they can get the pulls off on the creeps here. So getting it occasionally, but yeah, as far as levels go, we are going to see Alliance certainly pull ahead, and that's really good for Rubik. Getting that spell steal early on, we are going to see some big spells taken out. I mean, even an Illusionary Orb provides so much more potential for our Rubik than really what he has in store with any of his other abilities early on.
Dragon Knight has managed to snag a regeneration rune there. It looks like he's just going to stay, but I wonder if we see him just go straight for something like phase here. He has got the 3 branches there, could just try and pick up his magic wand earlier on as well if he wants to. That said, he's got the regen. You'll probably see him pop it in a second just to get his mana back up so he can start spamming the Breathe Fire once again. Well, top lane though, I'm just looking at the CS. But it looks like Black is a little bit ahead in terms of CS compared to Spectre. Spectre, though, you were right. They did opt for the phase boots there. I mean, although that said, it's a fairly common item for Spectre. It just gives her that extra mobility during the fights as well. Doesn't really need the treads as badly as some other heroes. Dragon Knight's popped that regeneration rune. Will be standing here in the mid lane. At the moment, DK's actually ahead on CS just barely. 26-6 versus a 24-6 there for Puck. And I think it's just because, I mean, he got his ball a little bit earlier. He is just spamming the Breathe Fire there to CS, whereas Fata tends to be using it more for harassment purposes.
So I'm interested in this movement of Cinderin up on the top lane here. Actually going to eat a Spectral Dagger, but it's not going to set up the Telekinesis. But yeah, in this position here, I guess Disruptor just realized that he was getting outclassed by the Alliance supports. Actually, in mid lane, a lot of damage coming on through. Back and forth, Fata's going to be able to pick up the first blood and going to take some damage from this Corrosive... but it's actually, oh, nice ultimate from the Spectre. Should be able to clean it up. Last right click coming on through. Yeah, even pops off the reality just to make sure of it. So he gets the experience as well as the gold. Getting that solo kill on the Puck. And although Puck got a ton of level or experience out of that pickoff on the Dragon Knight, the Spectre got even more, now bringing himself up to almost level 8. And just rotating on mid to farm over there. So what ended up happening, the Corrosive is actually non-fatal, similar to Orb of Venom or other such damage over time effects, the Poison Nova, those kinds of things. So we actually saw that he dropped down to 1 HP, and that would have been perfectly fine for him, but of course Smugleg popping off that ultimate and cleaning it up. So really good back and forth there, but unfortunately DK, S4 manning up a little too hard, and well, I think he might have missed uphill. I mean, he wasn't in a great position, but either way, just not getting enough out of his Elder Dragon form to actually get the kill.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that Spectre, maybe he was only level 5 at the time, but I thought he would have ulted a little bit earlier there to get straight in and just help him out, because of course, I mean, that's what you're there for with that ult, just allows him to have that global presence. I mean, why not? But that said, bottom lane, how is Bulldog is not doing well. Not at all. Level 2 at the 7-minute mark in. This is definitely a far cry from the last 2 games that we saw him play. He is struggling quite a bit to get stuck in. There we go. Here comes the help.
Yeah.
We're going to have Aki Oh, we'll teleport in there. Just going to duck into the trees. Oh, this could be a problem. No, they decide not to dive in there.
Instead,
Better say they're getting boxed in. That could have been some trouble. But yep, just going to fire that through. The Carapace comes out, going to smack Aki in the face. Stun comes out as well, and Bulldog now going to get drilled down there. The rocket barrage off. Call down as well. Aki now likely to fall. No, he's not getting away from that. Does get brought down very quickly. And that backfired horribly. I mean, this is one of the reasons that you hate playing Keeper Light against the Nyx Assassin. It's that Carapace. It is ridiculous. It's so easy to predict when it's coming. And you just get wrecked by it. You do like charge up 600 damage and get drilled by it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then on top of that, they were, it looks like on the mid lane, Mouz was able to go in. Dream Coil committed to the Dragon Knight, setting it up so that the Batroid can just run on in and get the lasso off. So they do get another pick off on S4. Bring him down. He's 2 deaths, 1 assist. So not exactly where he wanted to be. And he actually didn't get anything out of the assist either. So no gold, no experience for him. Pretty bad. But on top of that, of course, there was the gyrocopter kill, turning things around nicely. And yeah, it's just really, really good aggressive from them. They got 2 kills on bottom, 1 kill on mid. And that really adds up very, very quickly. We're going to see the Bat Rider picking up Blink Dagger in just 150 gold. And that will pretty much be their trigger to go in and put some pressure out on the Spectre, who is moving in towards that drum build. So, Phase Drum Yasha, pretty standard for a Spectre, and we're going to see that come out in relatively good timing. But actually, over here at the Ancients of the Radiant, going to see an orb come on through. He does jaunt away. There's that haste rune, but he's going to get stunned up by the Dragon Tail here and is getting locked down hardcore. Too much damage coming in. EGM, Aki, and S4 cleaning it up to hand in the Keeper like the kill. So really, really good position for them, and wasting out the haste rune, which would presumably make Puck unkillable, but obviously not the case here.
Yeah, I mean, you get chain stun, not a lot you can do about that there. I'm going to say, if any, like as you said, putting pressure on Spectre is going to be a fairly high priority. Then they really don't want to lead into free farm, because I'm going to say, if they let this go to late game, carry versus carry, I'm going to put my money on Spectre coming out ahead of the Gyrocopter, just because Dispersion does so much damage. It's not much fun at all to try and take that on, and just gives us so much more effective health. I mean, Gyro, of course, can get quite tanky with the BKB and the Butterfly, but Dispersion pretty much is, I think, going to guarantee that Spectre is a lot harder to kill there, especially if you just go with something like a Heart, not having to worry about having something like a Nagus just feasting on that extra health. Meanwhile, Aki now in some serious trouble there. Will get stuck inside the kinetic field, and then Puck, easy kill for him. We'll clean that up there as Batrider picks up his blink.
Yeah. I guess I haven't actually checked out Cinderin's Disruptor, but so far so good. It's getting a perfect kinetic field timing there, and now he has that Glimpse Max done out. A lot of potential to bring down Spectre. Actually going to see a rally down on bottom here. Going to try to turn around here on pause. Going to go for the TP, but there's too much damage. He does have a couple points in Desolate there, and he's cleaning it up nicely. And they will, as a result, be able to get the deny on the tower. EGM using the orb, jaunting on in, but gets lassoed up by Koikova, so he will take some damage here. But actually, just blinking on away, breaking it apart, going out smugly. Can they get it? They get the kinetic on top of them, dropping down the call down as well. They should get this killed. Nice little flame break, but unfortunately there is going to be that big illuminate going across, an S4 cleans house, breeze fire on 2, stuns out 1, and they just destroy them completely. So keeping Spectre alive, up and kicking, and now they're going to go for some push down on the bottom lane as the Elder Dragon form is just about to come back up off cooldown.
Yeah, I mean, Spectre is deceptively tanky. She's got the 2 ranks of Dispersion, did go for the early drums while giving her plenty of extra stats there. Very, very hard to get rid of. And of course, Magic Wand, or Magic Stick. Oh no, is it a wand or a stick? Yeah, it's a stick at the moment. Plenty of extra health there as well, so it was enough to keep her up and running. I mean, cooldown is nice, but at the same time, it's only rank 1 at the moment, so it doesn't do that much damage. It's only 350 between the 2 missiles there. As it looks like Puck is scouting things out there. Has got an invis rune. Dream Collar's up, and it's going to silence him. Nicely done there. EGM, though, ducks in the forest, trying to use that to keep him alive. He will get cleaned up here by the stun. And now the stun there on Puck as well. Gets caught by a Dragon Tail, gets burst down as well. And it looks like we're going to have Spectre just back up here along with the Dragon Knight. Should be able to get away from this missile. I think it's only level 1.
Yeah, he's actually not ranking up either of his skills here. So that the one reason where the call down wasn't that effective was the aspect of it. He couldn't really follow it up with a good barrage. Going in, just focusing on stats for right click and survivability. And so although that's generally a better build for a carry gyrocopter, it means that he has less skill potential at this stage in the game. And obviously Spectre just tanking up too much. So a little bit back and forth among them. One thing I'm looking for is the first big RP coming in from Bulldog. Has his arcanes, and a rank 2 skewer should be enough to get a halfway decent one off, but we'll have to wait and see. For the moment, though, I love Mouz's movement there, actually going on in, especially like a little comment on Paz's movement. He actually went in, and although there was a like 10% HP EGM right in front of him, he went ahead and focused down, making sure that he put Vendetta on a different target, and then just went ahead and went for a double stun that also clipped off the Rubik. So kind of good little movement there, but it's not adding up to that many results right now, as we do see Alliance answering back. Mouz, I think we're 4-1 and now it's 6-6. So Alliance have been taking a lot of really, really good kills, and that is in part based on the fact that Rubik has been stealing actively, and these Illuminates have been really on point. Keeper of the Light staying very far back, but he's gotten, even though it's only rank 2, he's gotten max Illuminates twice over on multiple individuals, which just completely changes the pace of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of extra damage. It's like, what, 600 damage there over the 2 Illuminates. It's a lot of firepower there. It looks like Alliance is saying they're ready to go there. I'm just wondering if we're having the same server issues from last time. These guys just struggling to stay in the game. As it looks like we're just going to have Quashko just come into the jungle here, just grab up some creeps as well. I'm just looking at Alliance, though. Smoker League, he's got 1,200 gold there. I'm just wondering if we go straight into Defusal here, or if we go for something more defensive. I mean, honestly, I would like to just see going straight into the Defusal. Just the extra damage alone is worth it. Plus the fact that you can just participate in those global fights a lot more, having the Purge available for that massive, massive slow. And at the moment, though, it looks like Alliance just going to get not so much defensive. They're looking for a gank here on the bottom line. They just want to slow down Black a lot. Black going straight for that BKB. And it looks like they're just going to leave Spectre to her own devices up on the top line. Not going to bother busting that at tier 1 top tower too immediately. It should be okay for them to wait for that for now. And now Dragon Knight, though. I'm just wondering if he'll go for the extra bracer right now. Oh, hang on.
Yeah. There was a gank going down bottom. He actually got a reverse polarity by Bulldog, who was invis at the time. So they just set it up. They got a lot of damage in on top of him, and his only option was to run north. I almost got out of there, but of course Spectre popping off the ulti, just hit R. You get the free KS there, and that adds into her gold flow there. So good gank, good aggression from Alliance, and shutting down Gyrocopter just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Dragon Knight will go for that extra drums. It looks like he's not going to. I mean, there's no real point right at the moment just yet. He doesn't really need to, as it looks like EGM has actually stolen flank cannon for the moment. But yeah, there's no real reason for go for the extra jumps just yet. And it looks like he's going to go for the BKB instead, which I agree with a lot more. And it's going to protect him against all those nasty nukes there on the Mouse's side. It looks like Puck now could be in a bit of trouble.
He probably needs to pop off the drink coil here. He gets it onto 2. Doesn't have the silence followed up just yet, but there is going to be Koigova doing a lot of damage here. There's that silence coming across. EGM doesn't have to break the tether, but gets hit by that flame break. There's going to be the lasso onto S4 inside the static storm. That should be his death as well. EGM dies to a right click here, so good cleanup for them. They just have to get out very, very quickly. Here comes Bulldog, but with a missile on top of him, there's really not much hope for him to actually close the distance and finish this job here. Going on, pursuing on through. He will connect onto Fata, but without any slows active, they will just have to fall back. So, yeah, good movement, and Mouse pick up a couple of very, very key kills at the cost of the Nyx Assassin.
I mean, that said, they did actually hand over the kill to Spectre, though. So Smog League's up to a dominating streak at the moment. I mean, that's always a problem. Going for 2,100 gold. Oh, wow, he's actually saving up. He's going for something bigger here. I mean, he might just be going straight for something like really, really defensive.
Yeah.
If you go to... I mean, that said, if he just picks up the Reaver right now, I don't think they've got the burst potential on Mouse's side to kill him. Because, of course, while Puck can set up a big fight, there's... he needs a follow-up. You can land a great Dream Core, but you need the follow-up DPS. And cooldown's nice, but again, it's probably not going to be enough to stop Spectre in his tracks. We've already seen it effectively bounce off him once already. So, I mean, if he gets that extra huge health boost, I don't know if they can actually drop him that easily at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's already getting tons of extra damage from Desolate as well.
I like the Reaver. I like that as a pickup there. A lot of the times you just see them move in towards Yasha and then Manta. But in this position, the movement speed isn't going to help that much. The Disruptor, specifically, locking in Kinetic Field, doesn't matter how fast you can run. He can glimpse you back, he can keep you locked in a single place, and it just doesn't provide you that much. We are going to see him recalled up to top, possibly just a farm. Just keep it going, keep it rolling, keep the CS up, and they actually are going to try to counter gank on Nyx, but unfortunately for them, no Nyx is about, and so he's just going to fall back and hold the line on the tower. They now realize this based on the dire ward they have. Back on the top lane, which has actually been there for quite some time.
I go to mid lane, there's a bit of a gank in mid. EGM getting caught out by the blinking Batrider. Easy kill there. Unfortunately, Batrider and Blink and Lasso, not much you can do as a squishy support.
Yep. So just trying to hold the line on the tier 1, but that's not always the safest place to be, and they just have so many ways to punish people that are out of position, especially that glimpse. We haven't seen it really come into play just yet. I mean, obviously we already talked about the mechanic of throwing them back if they teleport long range, but on top of that, if they try to run and you have vision on them, you can easily punish them for going just toe out of line. Up on top lane, Smugglers will drop down to this call down. Too much damage coming on through. Will try to reality, but they can't, or haunt, but they can't reality out, and there's going to be Puck to try to turn things around here. They do lose one, but it might be worth it. No, Black is going to drop on down. Double damage Puck trying to clean it up, but there is going to be that telekinesis. Nice clips pulling back in. S4 in a rough spot, but the right-click damage is enough to finish off Synderen, but S4 drops in turn. EGM. The deciding factor gets the steal of the illusory orb and is able to jaunt to the north. only to go for a TP scroll to the west. So really, really good movement from him. But yeah, just a bloodbath back and forth here. We do see, of course, the Magnus dropping down early when he committed that RP on 2. It was enough to bring down the Nyx, but they needed to commit more to actually get that gyrocopter. That sets up Fata to finish up that Blink Dagger, and yeah, now they are in a good position where they can be very, very aggressive, not only with a long-range rank 2 cooldown, but also 2 Blink Initiators on top of that.
I'm going to say, Mouz Sports, they caught a lucky break there. That DD rune came at just the right moment for one. It's a hell of a fight up there. And I've got to say, this really set him up. Now that Puck has that Blink Dagger, he becomes so lethal. Absolute lethal. And we're going to see him set up some really, really nasty Dream Calls now. So Alliance will really have to watch their spacing. That said, I mean, they could try and bait for a big Dream Call because, of course, if they can bait for a big Dream Call and then Mouz Sports commit, suddenly in sweeps Admiral Bulldog and RPs everybody. And everybody on Mouz Sports has a terrible day after that. But we will see. I mean, the other reason, though, that's it, speaking of Bulldog, the other reason Smolgally could quite happily go for defense first is the fact that they have the Empower. Well, will have the Empower, so they'll have a lot of extra damage there. And, of course, the Cleave on top of that. So, I mean, they could quite easily justify going for the Reaver or some kind of defensive item on him straight away.
Yeah. Could absolutely see that there. They're going to go for a siege on the mid lane. Mouz Sports here trying to bring it down, but Carapace up to Carapace. Makes it difficult to counter push out, and we see the Blink Initiation coming in. S4 picked off, but he has so much tank, he's still surviving on through it. There is a Dream Coil on 3 as well as a Waning Rift on most of them. Jaunting the northeast, they will bring down Ake. Bulldog cannot actually get an RP off. It's on cooldown for right now, and Black laying waste with so much right-click damage, as well as a little bit of Rocket Barrage on top of that there. Finally, Spectre gets her Haunt off cooldown, but really can't do anything to help out this mid lane situation. Even if she tried to jump on in, there's just too much damage coming out from Mouz Sports, and I gotta say, that was a perfect initiation. Even though Koikwa knew that they couldn't bring down the Dragon Knight in that time frame, they set it up to just completely obliterate anybody that tried to follow it up.
I'm going to say, going towards the late game as well, the other big thing that's going to be in Alliance's pocket is the fact that they have the Spectre. Right now, Mouz Sports line up very, very Blink reliant. Once they get towards the push, you know, they want to start sieging the high ground. Just being able to immediately throw down that Haunt and then charge up in the high ground is really going to be a huge benefit. The fact they won't have to worry about Batrider suddenly blinking into position for the lasso. They won't have to worry about Puck either going for the massive Dream Call. I think that's going to be a huge benefit later on. But right now, not as big a deal. And the mobility of Mouz Sports is going to let them run riot in these early on fights.
Yeah. So the deliberation between offensive and defensive Spectre, we do see finally coming to a conclusion here. The Diffusal Blade is going to be picked up for the Spectre. So the reason a Diffusal Blade is really, really good on Spectre is because it's the highest damage per gold item for Haunt, plain and simple. You get 5 illusions up, they all do that bonus feedback with the mana burn, and they just put themselves in a great position to dish out so much damage, and the base stats are really substantial. So it's a really, really great item to pick up. The question is the timing. Does she need more tank now? She has only a couple points in dispersion. She only has the drum, which is plus 9 strength. So there are limitations to it, and if she gets focused, they could actually just completely obliterate her before she's relevant. Like the last time she used the Haunt, she was at about 5 HP, and all the illusions died in one hit. So not very, very relevant. But the one thing that she does get to rest on a little bit is the fact that S4 is going to be carrying up alongside her, clearing out a triple stack just now in the Ancients, and setting it up so that he will have a very relevant GPM.
Yeah, I'll make a point here. S4 not as worried about keeping the level 1 dragon for the push power. He's just going, you know what, I want the cleave. I want the splash cleave just to go after that triple stack there. And of course, you know, the red dragon does have slightly better stats as well. So for the team fight potential, I think he's also got the right choice there as well. Yeah. He's going straight for it. Now, meanwhile, though, he does pick up a BKB, so he's going to have that up and running. This is going to give him a lot of extra fight. And the other big deal is he's been getting really, really ruined by the fact he's getting hit by that storm from Disruptor. He's been getting hit by the Static Storm while trapped inside the kinetic field. The BKB is going to help him get around that a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing him use that in the fights. But Puck at the moment just sort of backing up. He's waiting to set up a trap here, waiting for some allies to teleport top though. And I mean, he's going to need some help. All 5 Alliance players are in the top lane.
Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit too much for him to handle if they do get vision of him, but they won't do that unless they pop off Spectre's ultimate, which I doubt will actually happen. Either way, in this position here, yeah, S4 is going to dish out a lot of damage, and he's going to be able to pretty much shrug off anything that Puck or Disruptor bring out. With a BKB active, neither hero really does anything at all to S4, and he's just going to be able to kind of do exactly what he wants to do. Hard right-click damage in an AoE cleave, which is perfect if Admiral Bulldog gets a good ultimate off, hitting everybody in that cleave in that AoE when they're clustered up together. Now we see Lasso coming on in, but he does pop off his Dragon form previously. There's the BKB out as well. He survived through all this and now turning it around. A lot of damage on Koikwa. He will drop down with the next right click. Now going on in. Next target. There's Here's a glimpse, pulling away Smugleg, but they do get this big RP off, and Black should drop down there with them. Wait, a double impale, turning around, Black pops the BKB. There's going to be counter initiation from Puck as well, and Black life-stealing away, doing a lot of damage here. They can't get any turnaround kills, but they keep the gyrocopter up and kicking. EGM diving deep, looking for an opportunity to glimpse the gyro back, and instead he will just get just fall back from here. So they don't lose much, but they commit a lot, and I think they would have preferred to pick up at least 1 or 2 more kills.
I like the move there from Dragonite. Heard the cooldown coming in and then said, you know what, well, I'm going to roughly guess where it was, and then immediately threw himself as far left as he could. Snapped the tether, but it wasn't enough to get him completely out of cooldown's range and allowed him to dodge a lot of damage. Also, speaking of Black, should also mention he has picked up the Helm of the Dominator. Going to give him a little bit of extra damage, armor, and just a little bit more survivability in these fights. That said, it's not going to become a huge issue until he gets a lot of damage to that lifesteal, although probably just going to turn into a Satanic in the late game there. Now, I'm just looking at Dragonite's items. Has gone for a he's got another 1800 gold there. I'm kind of hoping that he goes for I'm really kind of hoping that he goes for the Shadow Blade. That said, at the same time, he could, Blink. It's one of those items that's almost good on anybody. If they really want to get stuck in, Blink is probably the best way to do it, just because he can just jump in, set up a stun on somebody he does not like immediately just take Puck out of the fight, take Black right out of the fight just with that Blink, because one of the issues is, of course, once the opposing team gets a gem, or if they get the gem or they start throwing down sentry wards, you can be shut down before you get your initial strike in, so that can be a bit of a deal. But we'll see what he goes for here. I'm getting the feeling he might just go for some more damage, or even a survivability item, but we'll see.
So, in this position here, the late game's certainly going in towards Spectre Dragonite, and Ake is going to help them propel that with not only some really good counter push, continuously spamming out his 404 build-up of Illuminate and Chakra, but also going to be able to pick up a mechanism. The longer they can hold, the less deaths they forfeit in an engagement, the more opportunities they have to take this game later and later and later, until Mousesports just get overrun by the scalability of these two major heroes. We do see S4 cleaning up on Ancients once again. Maybe he wants to pick up a Dominator of his own in the near future to stack and also keep himself sustained in the fights, but for right now, I'm very happy to just have a lot of great stats to work with, as well as that BKB.
I think Spectre's going for a heart next. She has picked up a Vitality booster, so we'll probably see her pick that up, and of course it does give her a lot of extra damage in the fights just through Dispersion, having all that extra health to basically tank damage and bounce damage around the enemy team. And of course, you know, the EHP from the mech as well, also going to do a lot in that regards on top of that. And I mean, like we said, she doesn't really need to worry that much about damage. She's already got a nice early source there from the Diffusal Blade, and then of course she has got the Empower backing her up as well. In fact, I think it's only level 1 Empower at the moment. Yeah, only level 1 Empower. So that's just going to get nastier and nastier and nastier as the game progresses.
So we do see kind of a back and forth as far as the gold and the experience coming on through. We do see 1,500 gold advantage the way Mousesports, but it hasn't been the case this entire time. Like, that's been only recently that they're able to recover from that beating Alliance provided them on the top lane. So they're up and down a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but they do, end result right now, have over 5,500 experience advantage, as well as making their way towards 2,000 in the gold department. So they are doing pretty well. And I'm curious to see what Gyrocopter hits up next. As you were saying, he needs damage to make the lifesteal worth it, and I think that he could really, really benefit from picking up something that involves the Demon Edge. Sometimes Daedalus, most commonly Monkey King Bar, though. And either way, setting himself up so he can just right-click away very, very effectively. We'll see.
I think Monkey King Bar, purely for the fact that Spectre at some point is probably going to pick up Butterfly. It's one of those items that really, really benefits her in terms of EHP, so I think she'll probably go for that late in the game after the heart, and it also, of course, gives her a ton of extra damage as well. So we'll see. But that said, in the meantime, I'm just thinking, like right now, I'm seeing the early Ogre Club coming out of Rubik. So it looks like he's going to try and pick himself up a BKB. And an interesting choice. He's not going for mobility here. I think he's just looking for survivability in these fights. And I mean, once he gets it, he doesn't need to worry as much about getting shut down by Puck. Puck can jump in, throw it in his Waning Rift and stuff, but at the same time, Rubik can then immediately counter and destroy it in his BKB. And doesn't need to worry about the cooldown and other nukes getting charged by a Rocket Barrage. It's not really going to matter as much. It's more going to come down to just the auto attack damage coming out of Black.
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully he can tank his way through that if he gets enough health as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about the BKB on Rubik is the fact that he can avoid all these silences. I mean, sitting inside a Static Storm, long duration there, especially if you're in the Kinetic as well, and of course the Waning Rift, that's a lot of time where you can't cast those big spells. If you steal Call Down, you want to use it, and it's just going to be a very, very unfortunate limitation if he does get silenced after the fact, and being able to just completely worry not about the puck or the disruptor really changes the pace of his initiation. So that'll be really good for him. Beyond that, Mechanism is first to come out. Actually, no, pretty much simultaneously. Ake and Synderen are going to be able to pick up their mechanisms, so kind of an even playing field as far as that goes. We do see, however, Batrider Quakewa wants to go on Smugleg. Could pull him down the cliff, but with that Spectral Dagger Path, he might be able to walk himself right back up, so he had to wait it out. Now coming on in, they can get the Dream Coil, get all this damage, and he doesn't have the ability to cast spells. He can't reality it away. And not sure if it would have helped him one way or another, considering the positioning of mouse sports. Either way, that's the kill they were looking for. That's the kill they needed, and certainly found it there.
I mean, yeah, definitely wanted that kill. And one thing does worry me, though, for Alliance is the fact that Spectre, even before that kill, was considerably behind Black. And Black, of course, known for his farming prowess, is sitting on 540 GPM, whereas Spectre has been under 400 this whole time. That does worry me quite a bit, especially since she's also behind S4, and she's had that free farm up in the top lane, so she has been getting picked up a little bit, and hasn't been farming quite as strong there in that regards. S4, I suppose we also got to keep in mind S4 has picked up quite a few kills. Although that's suspected. I mean, 8 assists, 4 kills, and then she's only died twice compared to S4's 5 times. So, a little bit surprised that S4 is outpacing her in that terms of farm there.
Yeah, that is definitely less than I expected as far as net worth value goes for the Spectre. But another thing to keep in mind is how relevant that gold is. That even though he is only sitting at 9,000 net worth, I would evaluate it almost worth an 11k or a 12k gyrocopter, and just the fact that the items mean so much more for such a scalable hero, that you can be a 3-slot Spectre and go up against a 4-slot gyro, and I would say you have about the same effect on the team fight. So we'll see how it plays on out, but for right now, if she can finish that heart, she's just going to be in a fine and dandy position to clean house, especially with that dispersion active and so much right-click potential with that diffusal.
We'll see indeed. I'm a little bit... one of the things that does bother me, though, Puck is working towards... I assume that's going to be a hex. And he's got 2,700 gold in the bank. And once you start seeing a couple of hexes come out, it's going to become very difficult for Spectre to try and shut them down these fights, especially since I don't think she's going to build towards... I kind of get the feeling almost she might even try and skip a BKB, but we'll see. I think she really wants a BKB, though, but Spectre's the kind of hero that you want to try... I mean, you don't want to completely nullify all damage being taken on you, because you want to get that dispersion damage in to try and knock off the enemy team. Yeah. So, I mean, if possible, she might try and skip it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think she needs the BKB, but it's certainly, like I said, if you're going to get a BKB against any team, this is certainly one. You're not dealing with, like, 3 different BKB piercing disables. You're dealing with just the Family Lasso, just a slow from the call down, and from there, everything else, you can literally just walk on through. You don't care at all. So I think although it's not an item that I prefer on Spectre, in this situation, you're right, she would benefit a ton from it. She can make sure she gets her haunt off every fight before she drops down to critical HP values, and yeah, in general, she'll be able to just stay very active. So, heart first, obviously, but from there, BKB is definitely something to consider.
And we'll see what she's got in mind, though. 2,100 gold in the bank now, still working her way towards that heart. Looks like both teams are sort of going fairly passive at this point in time, just trying to get their farm up, as we see Monkey King Bar finished up. And this is what's going to hurt Varacop. In fact, the Monkey King Bar's done. He's getting a lot of damage now, and Spectre isn't quite in the position that she wants to be just yet in terms of farm and in terms of survivability and damage. I mean, obviously, she's still going to be hard to kill, but at the same time, I don't think she's got enough staking power to hang around under the firepower of a gyrocopter with that MKB. But we'll see. Meanwhile, though, how is Magnus doing? Magnus 1,100 gold in the bank as well. Got any ideas what he might... I mean,
he has to go Black King Bar, 100%. There's like no doubt about it in my mind. If he doesn't go Black King Bar, he'd be making human sick.
Yeah, there's just too much potential. Black King Bar, and then I almost said just go straight for Refresher after that, just because we've seen exactly how powerful the double RPs can be in the past. And yeah, especially with that Hex done now, I think no question, he needs the BKB now. See, what's he bought there?
I think Ogre Club.
There we go, there's the Ogre Club. Yeah, definitely going BKB.
So, in this position, I'm curious if they can actually contest Roche directly. Obviously, they have a bit of a vision advantage in that specific area, but Firefly, daytime, gives plenty right now. Actually going to get caught out, though. Doesn't see S4 Shadow Bleeding on in, doing a lot of damage here. Koikwa will be picked off with the right clicks going on through. That Haunt is doing a lot of work, burning down mana on Cinder, and they are actually going to reality on in. Its target of choice is Pause, but they don't have the detection to finish him off. So, Smugleg really wants that kill, but instead, just going to walk away, and I believe that means they can Roche if Spectre doesn't get caught in trees. Oh, goodness, Spectre, what are you doing?
What was he thinking?
That was not necessary at all. That's a lot of time lost. Getting recalled.
Oh, there's a recall, yeah. I mean, he had to know that wasn't going to happen. Like, there wasn't going to be enough time for him to run through the streets. But regardless, I mean, there was unintended side. I think almost an unintended side effect of smuggling. Ulting there was more the fact that it shut down Puck's blink. He couldn't get in there, couldn't land a drink coil. I mean, there were a whole bunch of heroes grouped up. He could have jumped in there with the drink coil, the raining rip, caused a whole lot of problems for him. But obviously, a Haunt just completely shut that down. Couldn't get in, couldn't save the Batrider. With Batrider down now, they do have a wide open opportunity to see the glimpse being used in Aki, only sending him a couple of meters there. Not really going to haul up. But here comes Puck, going to jump. No, just throws down the stun down the cliff and just going to harass him a little bit. Flame Breath thrown uphill as well. Just going to try and harass, pass back, steal there. What did he manage to get? I think it's Impale. No, it's Carapace there. Here we go. Call down Cody just in there. And it's going to do a lot of damage. Bulldog starts. He really needs that BKB. Bulldog gets brought down there. Roshan's still in the fight there. Roshan falling very low. They'll see who can clean it up afterwards. Whoever wins this fight will take the Roshan. S4 still trying to fight. Heals himself up there. Doesn't have Shadow Blade. Will go down as well. We see that Blaster. No, Blaster's already been popped there. Flame Break going to be used to send himself up over the top. And he will manage to clean up this Roshan as well. Aegis going to go to black there.
Really?
Firefly on pass being too good.
Yeah, it was a really good engagement. They needed to take that, and that's going to set them up so they actually have a good shot of this game. If they lost Roche there and also lost the team fight, honestly, just Alliance could take it away with the carry potential of their heroes. But getting that Aegis, getting themselves up, and now Carapacing up the Keeper of the Light will allow them to go in for this tier 2 pressure. And yeah, there's not really much that S4 can do. Now, keep in mind, Reverse Polarity was not used. He was silenced out in the Static Storm, so he can jump on this technically to try to go for some wombo combo initiation. But right now, it looks like they're just going to let it deny. They're going to put it into 78 out of 1600 deny range and just let it fall back. But S4 wastes his ultimate, trying to get a Elder Dragon form stun off on the Puck. It would have set up the kill guaranteed if he had landed it, but 2 spells, unfortunately, take a lot longer than 1, and Puck able to just blink on out of there.
I'm honestly very surprised that Bulldog was in the middle of that fight. Like trying in the middle of that Roshan. I really thought they would hold him back. I mean, his floor is very tanky. He can sit there taking a lot of damage from Roshan. They've got the mech there if he really needs it as well. I honestly surprised that Bulldog was not waiting in the wings, just basically chilling around over here, just ready to blink an RP, because that would have been pretty much a perfect shot for him to just jump in there and completely wreck Mouz. But instead, I guess they thought they could finish up the Roshan before they came and counterattacked, especially with the Batrider down. They must have felt confident, but as it was, I mean, it was close. Roshan had like literally 50 health left before they were forced to come out and fight. And as it was, well, it didn't work out for them at all, did it?
Nope.
And Magnus just proving again really needs that BKB.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, buyback was expended on Dragonite, so he doesn't have the blue dragon form to kill the stacked ancients. It's just going to have to bring down them one at a time. But yeah, that big thing. I actually am not sure if the Magnus being outside of it would have been the biggest difference, because one thing that Mouseforce is kind of doing is using this static storm as a kind of a net. They can go on inside it and realize that for the most part they cannot be RP'd if they're right in the middle, because the Admiral Bulldog, if he comes on in, he is going to be silenced. And so they just kind of have it as this little buffer barrier, I don't know, bubble of safety where they're going to be able to just stay active, stay fighting. And there's really very little that Magnus can do until he finishes that item. And of course, it's taken a long time, because as far as this KDA, we're only seeing Bulldog sitting at 1, 4, and 5. And it's just really limiting when, of course, he only has 52 CS to his name.
I mean, they could try. I mean, you could try. At the same time, though, I mean, the Polarity's radius is bigger than Static Storms. I mean, they could try. But that said, I mean, you could say, they could throw it down as a buffer to try and force Bulldog back. But at the same time, Bulldog could kind of just charge right through it onto the other side and then Polarity them anyway. Sure. So, I mean, like, if someone's hiding it, just charge through it, take them out, and then Polarity them. So he's always got that available. Or he could just, jump next to it and then Polarity regardless. But I don't know. We'll see. Cinderin now has got his own mech. Just looking through. Oh, Gyrocopter. Here we go. Eagle Song being picked up. Butterfly on the way. I think this is going to be the biggest limiting factor. The fact that Black... Oh, Butterfly is done.
Yeah, that's big.
Wow. Wow. This could be a bit of a problem for him.
So...
Just pretty much... This is an age-old story. You don't let Black farm. Black farm, you get wrecked.
Yeah. Seems like that's going to be maybe just 100% a cautionary tale for how Alliance have kind of let this play out. Right now, he is sitting at almost 300 CS. He has monstrous items, and although the Spectre can do more with individually more gold, she's only just now picking up her Reaver, so she has fallen behind significantly. 10.8k versus 18k, and it's just going to be very hard. They have to get a good Dragon Tail, and it's maxed out, so it's going to be a lot of stun duration on Gyro. But, that's only going to do so much. He's level 20. He has that BKB. If he pops that off, or if he just uses the Aegis effectively, it's going to be amazing. Now, we do see this engagement up on top. Puck taking a lot of hits here. Will die. No, phase shift. He might be able to blink. No, blink's on cooldown. They go for the lasso. They try to keep him alive, and yes, he is. They do. No, Puck buys back. he's going to come back on into this, but here comes that Han doing a lot of damage. S4 taking a lot of hits from Black. Will be dropped down. No, Shadow Blade keeps him up. And instead, we're going to see the big RP from Bulldog. They don't have the follow-up, unfortunately. They're going to try. Fadebolt going across. A lot of Illuminate damage. Double kill for Ake as they are trying to clean this up here. Black has it. Aegis might die twice. Yeah. All the life steal in the world isn't going to save him from this, but here comes Fata, gets the Dream Coil onto 2, one more right click will finish off S4, and they might be able to turn this around. Black with a flat cannon, so much damage, and Smugly getting sheeped up. He might as well try to die to neutrals, but unfortunately doesn't even have that to work for him. Double kill for Black, turn it around, the Aegis respawn with Puck coming back on in. Really, really nicely done. Now, I'm almost positive that he didn't do the buyback jaunt trick, but he probably just was able to blink and just keep on running until he could get back to the fight.
I don't know. I mean, he could have ported to mid. That was a very quick comeback, though, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll check it later. But that said, I mean, Alliance, I think, got a little bit too... They got a little bit too blinded by their battle lust there. At the point where Gyrocopter went down with the Aegis, I think they should have backed out, but I guess they just didn't notice that Puck bought back in the middle of that. I mean, it's very easy not to notice that kind of thing. As it looks at the blink in, though, and the BKB is activated. They won't manage to pick up anybody with a skewer there. Puck, though, just going to jump back out there with the ethereal joint. S4 going and looking for the Dragon Tail. Should be able to find it. Lands it there. There's a shockwave as well. Puck will get taken out after the buyback, but I think it was well worth that buyback regardless.
Yeah.
They get the tier 4, they get the tier 3 tower, plus a whole bunch of kills from that Puck buyback, so definitely worthwhile in the end there. And just speaking of which, Spectre though, that said, Spectre is getting closer and closer to that heart. And back done, there we go.
Wow. So yeah, Harder to Harass finished up on Spectre. Very, very important for him to be able to pick that up. And yeah, as you said, the buyback, no regrets about that one at all. It's just the second death that kind of feels unnecessary at this stage. He was quick enough back to that fight. I almost want to say that he jaunted his buyback because the orb was cast. I thought it's 3 or 4 seconds before he died. Maybe it was just barely the perfect time. Otherwise, yeah, it was just a really, really quick maneuver. TP to tier 2, blink orb, and get in as fast as possible. Either way, I gotta say that Fata made some big plays there, cleaning it up and making sure that instead of losing the Aegis and a second life on Black, that he turned it around for a double kill and is gonna have Satanic very, very shortly as a result.
I mean, yeah, he could have been a blink orb from the mid tower. Definitely possible. I mean, if they had the tier 1 stuff, it would be a lot closer to, or a lot easier to decide. But I mean, either way, we'll see. That said, I mean, if he cast the orb just before he died and then he insta bought back, the orb would have been on cooldown for quite some time, at least 10 seconds or so. But Nyx now wandering around with a gem as well. They're going to get some good map control in here, and in fact, all these low ground wards are going to disappear fairly quickly, unfortunately, at the hands of Nyx. And Nyx, of course, with his own blink. I mean, right now, Mousesport's very, very mobile, but I'm going to say once we start seeing the high ground sieges from Alliance, they're going to be stripped of that mobility. That said, though, look at that. Look at that farm on Black. Has managed to pick up a Satanic as well. I honestly don't know. But like, with a Satanic, the fact that they don't have that huge burst damage potential, I mean, Alliance, like, even Spectre may not actually be able to outlast him if he just gets some good Satanic hits in.
And they just wasted Haunt, guess, for scouting, but whatever the reason was, he doesn't have it available, and that's a 100-second cooldown. It's gigantic, and they could go in. They don't have Aegis, but yeah, the Satanic, that's a lot of effective HP. You can just pound on over and over on the Spectre, and Dispersion won't lower your health pool. You'll just lifesteal through it. And then, of course, second life from the Satanic. You're feeling pretty good about that. So it's on them. They definitely still have to keep spread out. They don't want to all get hit by Blinding Light and Reverse Polarity. But that being said, I think they feel pretty confident in this position here. Dragon Knight being forced to TP on back, Bulldog coming back on through, but still no BKB. And that is the biggest thing that he needs to have and doesn't, unfortunately. So this team fight could go very poorly because of it. Koikova going in and getting some scouting off, but because this tier 3 has already fallen, he can pretty much move on about wherever he wants to in the base.
The glyph is up, though, for the Dire team. They want to try and use the defend. It looks like Blinding Light gets tossed there. Hits nothing. And there we go. Top Rax goes down. They've lost the top range racks there. Not too bothersome. As long as they get the melee one up, that's the big deal there. Meanwhile, though, they're just looking for an opening. They're just going to scout things out with a Spectral Dagger as well. Not really finding a spot where they can just charge in there. The counter wards are down for both the Radiant and the Dire there. Park now jumps in there, gets the silence down, also throws down the Hex down on SL. S4 taking a lot of damage there from the Flak Cannon of Black. Black, they're going to back up there. Flak Cannon now 10 seconds there on cooldown. Are they going to try and engage here? Spectre's thinking about it. She sees them. She's got the Spectral Dagger now. She can get a lot of vision there. In fact, I'm almost saying Syndra tries to reveal himself intentionally. Now the ult comes.
Oh, yeah.
As we're going to see the Yeah, we see the jump in there. The Impale gets thrown in as well. They've got a blinding light coming through there as well. So the Illuminate reverse polarity comes in, catches two, shockwave through as well, but they're not doing enough damage to Black. Black is tearing Spectre apart. Black, no damage on him practically. He's at full health. Charges his flat cannons up, and that looks like we're going to lose a lot of heroes there on the Alliance. So no, they're only going to get Aki there, as it looks like no S4 now in some serious trouble. Should be able to bring him down, although he's healing up there with the bottle. Going to move away though. Gets stunned. No, he's invisible. Never mind. But that said, the melee rack's likely to fall here. And this is smart from Mouz. They don't waste time screwing around with the enemy heroes. Go straight for that racks. Although it looks like the Haunt coming in for Spectre back just in time to force them to back off. Batrider also just trying to figure out a spot to maneuver without getting taken out. Spectre may have overextended here.
Yeah, this could
Blaze,
be terrible.
I think he's made an error.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he does have Dragon Knight at his back, EGM as well, Flat Cannon at his disposal. So I think they're going to fall back. But yeah, that just fight didn't go the way they needed it to. They started off, Dragon Knight found out Koikova, he was invis. He had Shadow Blade up, he got the Dragon Tail off on Koikova, but how he responded, he survived long enough to just turn it around, pop up a lasso, pull him for a little bit, and then blink away. So he wasted a lot of Dragon Knight's time, and as a result, although they pretty much just took each of them out of the team fight. Dragon Knight didn't come in until much later, and Koikova didn't come back at all. But the end result is that they didn't have that cleave damage to follow up on that nice Admiral Bulldog ultimate. So the Alliance was pressured to go out in open battle without their DK, and they just couldn't hold it. I mean, the Gyrocopter didn't even have to pop Satanic. There was just no focus there. And so, try to get what kills they could. They got a couple of supports, but nothing to write home about, and they lost a lot. They still have their melee racks up. They're not completely out of this, but they definitely aren't really making any waves happen here, as we see the 14,000 gold advantage of Mouse Sports, along with that almost 15,000 in experience.
You should also mention the Bat Gem has been transferred from Nyx to Batrider, so Batrider, and also obviously in a much better position to do the counter warding with Firefly as well, able to see up into that high ground on top of it. Now we've got a bit of a smoke up here on Alliance's side. They're looking for a potential kill. I don't know if they're going to find it though. And here we go, they're about to clash in the jungle, possibly about to blunder into each other. There's a stun down on Puck. Lasso comes in, though, going to catch S4. S4 being dragged into the trees, getting in a bit of a stuck inside the kinetic field as well. Cornet gets dropped in as well. S4 taking a fair bit of damage, dropping very, very rapidly. We've already lost a Magnus as well. Didn't get to RP at all. We've got a buyback there as well from Magnus, as well as the Dragon. Already been brought down. EGM about to drop as well. No real chance for him to survive against Black there either. And Spectre is down on top of it. I think they're going to lose possibly the mid-racks here as well. The Creeper going to be in the base from the top lane.
Yeah.
They'll have plenty of time there to drill that down. Without Spectre, I don't think they can hold the line they're up against for. I mean, Mouse Sports, they've lost Disrupt, but that's not really a big deal at this point in time because Black is just, you know, I'm just going to sit here and kill your racks. There's nothing you can do about it. Or is there? They're going to charge in. Actually, they still do have reverse polarity up. There comes the Mana Leak stun there on Black. Going to get damaged there heavily by the Spectre. Haunt there. Spectre, though, the actual Spectre is going to go after a different target. There's a reverse polarity on Black, on top of Puck as well. Fatter now might be in a bit of trouble. Going to try and jaunt out of there. No, he's going to get caught. Purged as well. Brought down, getting headbutted there by Magnus. And they will manage to hold their racks just barely. One loathsome creep trying to hold onto it.
Yeah, trying to do what any creep would. But, yeah, no, that turnaround worked really well for them. It committed so many buybacks, though. Spectre, Dragonite, and Magnus all buying back for that. A lot of gold down the drain as a result. I mean, when you're looking at their levels, I mean, now, of course, Magnus is only level 14, unfortunately for him, but that's a level 19 Spectre, level 29 Dragonite, and that adds into a ton of cash for buybacks. But, yeah, the reason they had to buy back was because of how great that fight went for Mouse Sports in the first place. The big thing there was there was going to be a double RP coming in from Admiral Bulldog, and mid-animation, Waning Rift comes out from Fata, shuts him down completely, and you just can't feel worse for the guy. He really, really was in a good spot to make something happen and maybe be able to turn things around, but instead just completely got obliterated. Fortunately, that did mean that he did have the cooldown back when he came back up, but of course it did cost them quite a bit to make this fight worth their while. Either way, now getting a lot of experience as they do bring down a 25 Gyrocopter as well as a 22 Puck, and of course support at the very least. So in this position here, I don't think that Mouse Sports is going to be pressured to buy back. They're just going to let Roche fall, but it does mean that they have to be very, very deliberate about their next move.
Indeed, they had to be quite careful. That said, I mean, we saw exactly...
oh, they are going for it. Screw that.
Oh, all right, there we go then. I mean, I was going to say, that said, we can see exactly how long a game can last previously, so we'll see if Alliance managed to wind up in the same position as well. That's at S4. I guess he's going for Assault there, still working his way towards it, but I mean, at this point in time, looks Alliance is going to be saving up for buybacks as well. Spectre has buyback 4 minutes away, so she can probably spend up her gold at the moment. And now, Mousebot's going to make sure they scout out the Roshan pit, Gonna make sure they have eyes on it here with the wards. In fact, Syndra going to toss another one up here. Yes, smart ward there. Making sure they can see Bulldog. He tries to sweep around behind them. If anybody tries any shenanigans from there, but it looks like we're going to have a fairly easy Roshan kill. No, Illuminate going to come through here as well.
Yeah,
Blinding Light tossed down as well just to slow him down.
Yeah, Firefly gonna make sure that they have full vision of this nighttime. Isn't gonna give them that much understanding of the enemy's position, but if he does see something on high ground, he will be able to bring it down. Either way, they're gonna hit the Roche and give it to Puck here. Initiation comes on in. Quackva gets the lasso out, but Force Staff actually doesn't connect here. S4 instead doing a lot of damage, right-clicking down with the BKB, but Smuggling just getting locked down hard. Mana Burn to finish him off, and Emerald Bulldog only able to just mess with Puck a little bit. Big Dream Coil going across, and gonna connect on all three. There's that lasso that he was trying to get off before, burning down S4 perfectly, and Puck comes right back up with that Aegis the Immortal, looking for more. Going in, he does get the Sheep Stick off on Bulldog. Might be not enough to finish it, though, and there is going to be a stun to lock him down. EGM doing what he can, but Bulldog still taking too much damage. He will be finished off here. Big Illuminate going across, but it's not going to stop them from pushing in on the mid lane here. Tier 3 going to drop quickly, and EGM barely can walk away from that flat cannon damage. So really, really good setup for Mouse Sports there, and good game is called. That was just too good of a team fight for them to deal with, and they already used all those buybacks, as I mentioned. So, good. Mouse Sports, obviously showing why they're the pros and I'm not, deciding that it was well worth it to keep the not reckless, but continuous aggression going. And as such, buying back, getting Roche, and burning down the opposition. They were able to take this away very, very convincingly. So, Mouse Sports take it away 1-0. But, of course, it is a best of 3, and we'll have to see what Alliance brings in for Game 2.
I mean, I've got to give a shout out to Syndra in this game. Some people ask me, what's the point of kinetic build? My answer is, it's freaking cogs on crack, and this just shows you exactly how good it was. Locking down the Dragonite repeatedly, locking down Spec, didn't matter they had a BKB, really just did not give a stuff at all. Just being able to shut them down and prevent them from getting away. And of course, comboing it with his ultimate as well, really, really effective. But, you know what? Alliance, of course, stand-in. Will Loda be back in time to play for Game 2? This is, of course, Game 1, the best of 3 series, so this could go to 3.
Yeah. Definitely possible. We'll have to see how it plays on out, but just really, really good movement there. Of course, Black farming away. You can't forget how much of an impact he made. 750 plus gold per minute. I mean, I was worried about Gyrocopter spending too much money on buyback, but he's level 25. He doesn't want to sit down for over 90 seconds. He wants to just say, hey, I have a ton of cash to throw around, and even then he ended the game with 4,600. Just so much. He bought up a lesser crit, he jumped on in there, he does so much, and all they needed was just a little bit of good initiation. Used Puck as a distraction, he had the Aegis, and yeah, cleans it up. Really, really good fight for them. Spectre just couldn't get to that maximum capacity there, couldn't really get to that threshold where she could actually bring everybody down with her dispersion specifically. So, yeah, critical mass achieved by Gyrocopter prior to anything else, and as a whole, Mouse Sports just clean it up. Really, really nice game. Again, Game 1 of the Best of 3 series. Now going to be looking at Game 2, Alliance versus Mouse Sports in just a minute. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Reavers Cup Grand Finals. This has been Blaze and Triumph, and we'll catch you guys in the next game.